Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Asian, St. Lucian, Caribbean, carry home. We don't carry go. We carry home and make it still. It's different. Jamaican flavor. Don't you know the Jamaican style? Different flavor, yes, different vibe. Caribbean style. Different walking, talking, bus every time. Jamaican style. Different hustling, bustling, making it wild. Caribbean style. Style you've never seen before. Have you ever seen a style like this? Girls, them a bubble and a wine and twist. It's fine. Rude boys rolling stiff. Select a wheel and come again with it. Always doing things a different way. That's just the way we stay. Caribbean people around the world keep on shining through. And the Jamaican style, different flavor, yes, different vibe. Caribbean style, different walking, talking, bus every time. Jamaican style, different hustling, bustling, wicked and wild. Caribbean style, sound you. Too good feel better you put somebody else. She said she want a big angle. She said she want a big. She said she would like to be free. She said she would like. Check. Audio check 1 2. Audio check 1 2 3. You're in tune to Masterpan on the road, Caribbean Style TV, right here on Cablevision. Also, online Masterpan Cstyle TV on Facebook. Seeing just blessed love, enough fun, enough respect. Thanks for tuning in right here. And as usual, it's Friday, every Friday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We were on WUSB Stony Brook last night, so we're on WUSB Stony Brook last night, and last night we had a really good time on WUSB Stony Brook. So, you know, and lots of things happening, lots of things going on, you know. But right now we're online with a couple of my friends them and thing, you know. Claudette gone dark again. All right. Turn on the light, Claudette. See? So we're online right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Okay then. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. Okay. All right.
Better?
It's a little better, but it's however you had it before, it was great. However you had it before, I don't know how you had it before, but it was absolutely excellent. Richie Innocent, perfect, man. Richie Innocent, you're underneath the moon, man.
Yeah, man, bless you.
Yo, that's a nice look, my brother. For real.
We're giving it up to you, you know what I mean?
Was that coincidence, or you just do it, what?
Yeah, as I said, I'm in the backyard, you know, we doing a little thing.
Yeah.
And I just realized that when I, you know, came on the virtual,
yeah,
I realized that the moon was in the background. I was like, yo, yeah.
You got good eyes. You got.
Yeah, man.
I'm
so
serious.
You know?
You have really good eyes, man. It's
yeah.
I'm just telling you, the way it look,
yeah,
it look pretty good. Man, I'm telling a lie. You see, man, say?
Yeah, man, bless you.
Awesome.
For real, no, right, Claudette. It looks good.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
I don't know. You caught it perfect. It's right above you. It's like God a guide over you.
Yeah, man, you see that. Blessings.
It's like God a guide over you, man. I tell you.
Yeah, man, blessings.
We should have played the Sizzler guide over us for you know. For that. You know, I'm gonna just draw that first since I look at vibes the way I catch right now. See, I'm gonna just draw the Sizzler for you. The Sizzler guide over us.
Better than naturality.
All right. How does that look? How does it look, Mike? You know?
Yeah, man, nothing more than authentic God-made stuff.
I'm telling you. So it looks pretty good.
Awesome view, and I'm sure you was there looking at it. You know, breathtaking as well, being able to be outside.
Yeah.
After everything, so yeah.
I'm inside, Richie. How's the temperature outside?
Yeah, you know that it. I don't know the exact number, but you know it's a bit chilly right now and windy.
It's windy outside?
Yeah, it's very windy. Trust me.
Yeah. Wow, I thought it would.
Yeah.
They said it was supposed to be like
Today the weather was much warmer, but as it the closing of the day, You know, I had to, man, I have to put on some extra skin right now.
I thought it was supposed to be, let me say it's supposed to be 70 degrees, something like that.
Yeah, today that was, but you know.
That's earlier today.
I'm still getting used to the reading of the weather in America, because you know, say, you know, I'm always in that weather in Jamaica.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah,
I know.
The blazing weather there, you know.
This is the longest you've ever been here. I mean, usually Richie don't stay inside of the States. He's gone, you know. Yeah. But anyway, let's do some quick introductions. See, Richie, introduce yourself to Mike. I know Mike don't know you. So just Richie, go ahead, man. Okay.
Yeah, the name is Richie Innocent. You know, I'm a dub poet / reggae artist / youth advocate. Yeah, and you know, this is what I'm doing. I am doing. You know, for the past 6 years, I've been putting my emphasis and my focus mainly on the spoken word through word, sound, and power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I've been getting more recognition, you know, ever since I started, you know, putting most of my attention and my creative energy towards doing dub poetry. So the name is Richie Innocent. Okay,
Richie Innocent, some dub poetry. And Mike, we're going to see if we can make you hear some Richie thing them. See? So, you know, and, you know, we run some Richie Innocent and thing.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll run out. Yeah, we run out.
I can also let you know that Masapan.
Yeah, Richie.
Yeah, I want you to also know that I am nominated. This is my 4th year being nominated for the IRAMA Award, International Reggae Music and World Music Award. I'm in the Muta Baruka category.
Yeah, that's what the 4th.
Wow.
Which is the category 23. You know, and IRAMA. So once you go on the IRAMA website, that is www.irama.com.
Yeah.
You can go on the IRAMA site and you can go to the Mutabaruka Awards category 23.
Yeah.
For the best dub poet and spoken word artist for the year 2020. And I am one of the nominee. Yeah, and so you can go and vote for Richie Innocent. I will definitely be depending on your votes. Okay, and everyone that is listening, because this is my 4th year being nominated. It has been a beautiful journey. You know, I've never won before, but as I say, it's an experience, and I remember all of my nomination as if it's a child.
Yeah.
I remember the first one in 2018. 2019, 2020, you know what I mean? So it's a blessing.
Nah, man, Richie, you've done great work You've done great work over the years, and we appreciate it, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Great accomplishment.
Nah, man, right? I'm telling you.
Great accomplishment, and you know, it's good to see, you know, you doing this. Hopefully, you know, we can extend that platform so your words and your art and craft can be spread not just local but also here for people, not just to look at Muta and think that he's an anomaly, but that there are other folks out there doing the same thing and getting recognition for it and the message that it brings and deliver. You know, it's powerful and it's worthy of recognition. So good job, boss.
No, man, thanks very much. And as you said just now about Muta, you know, I want to say kudos to Muta, who is our legendary poet, who has, you know, brought the art form worldwide and has given it this recognition. And Muta Baruka decided that, you know, he was going to step aside and allow new poets and, you know, to get an opportunity to win the award also, right? So he just decided that, so they name it in his honor, you know, the Muta Baruka Awards.
What a DJ there? What a DJ? Hey,
yeah, man.
Mr. Spanish Sean, man, you forget what's going on with Coney Island? Brother,
where's the what's going on with where's the mic? I didn't get that mic. Where's that? Yeah, Mike?
You lost them.
Oh, it looked like I lost Mike for a second. All right then. So here we are going to see Richie. No problem. See, let's get back to. All right. Your mic, Dr. Mike. All right. Anyway, see. So let's just say. All right. What do you guys want to start with? What do I want to start with? There's so much things that go on. So much things that go on. You know. You know, see it. Richie, what got you your mind, man? I like to pick Richie innocent brain. You know. You see, Master Richie. What go on, Richie? What do you want to start with, man? Where do you want to start? There's so much. I haven't seen you in a while, and so much has happened. What's up? What's going on, Richie?
Well, what's going on right now is that I have a great appreciation right now for life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I want to say, you know, give thanks for life, because I'm not, as I said, I'm just coming through the experience of the COVID. You know, that I once thought was something was an imaginary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Event.
Yeah.
You know, like I said early on, you know, but right now, you know, I remember when I used to hear the amount of persons who they said that contracted the COVID.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who pass away. You know, to me, you know, not being insensitive, but I was basically taking it with a grain of salt. You know, and the day that I realized how serious it was the day when they made the announcement of the amount of persons who contracted the COVID in New York, and I realized that, you know, I am among that figure. So that was when I figured that this is serious.
So you was a doubter?
I was very, very doubtful, because, you know what I mean, as I said, that I was telling myself that this is an agenda, and like they call
agenda by who?
You know, by those who rule the world, who govern the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the world leaders. Yeah, the politicians. I'm saying that, you know what I mean? They are the ones who are behind this thing, you know, to get the people to comply and to get them in an orderly manner, the way in which they want them to be.
Like a conspiracy,
Yeah. But sometimes we want to know what is the conspiracy to, you know, because I realize that when persons are fed information and they want to question it,
yeah,
you know, and look at it from other perspective, it is labeled a conspiracy, and oftentimes we don't know if those who are, you know, really basically telling us about a thing, we don't know if they are really the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
So there's a thing about, you know, conspiracy theory and conspiracy theory. So we really want to know who and what is the conspiracy theory and theorists.
Okay, I see. So you was doubtful when it comes to the COVID thing, basically.
Yes, because I wasn't seeing anyone with the COVID.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't seeing anyone across the street from me, but I was hearing about COVID across the world.
Yeah.
Going through Spain and Italy, traveling all about.
Yeah.
You know, but when I look across the road and I look over my neighbor's yard, I never see anybody over there.
Okay.
And until COVID visited me at home.
Wow. What was the experience? What was the experience like, Richard?
You know, it was very painful, and
painful in a sense of what?
I had pain all over my body, especially my back. I had headaches, my eyes hurt. You know, at one point in time, I kept using, you know, if I want to try to put it in a more tasteful way, but you know, I kept going back and forth to the restroom.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't really getting any rest.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I had to be using turmeric and ginger.
Yeah.
And you know, doing a lot of steaming.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of steaming and using eucalyptus oil, boil the water. You know, get a towel, put over your head and all of that.
Yeah.
And I was experiencing it with my wife. So at times when
at the same time.
So when I was very, very weak and I couldn't manage, she was the one that was trying to do what she was doing in her weak state.
Yeah.
And then there were other times when she was very weak and I began to, you know, move around also. At one point in time, you know, our medical doctor was basically saying to us that they have this thing that we could try to help us to fight the COVID.
Okay.
And I think she said it was intravenous.
It was I think it was the plasma. They call it. It's a plasma.
Yeah. So we could have tried that, but we decide. Also, with a little bit, with not even a little bit of fear, but with a lot of fear, because we were hearing so many things that, try our best not to go to the hospital.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and I had a terrible cough as well. So I kept incessantly coughing.
Yeah.
At one point in time, it was as if my chest was like locking. And I was like, yo, I don't want this to reach a point where
you can't breathe. Yeah, we can't breathe.
Yeah, I don't want it to reach a point. So, we kept using the home remedy. And then, call up on my mother. And my mother came by the house and she bring a big pot of soap. One day, yeah, and she bring a big pot of soap. And she brought a big bottle with a thing that she called the COVID shot.
What is the COVID shot?
It's a combination of things she boil up, Jamaica that boil up.
Yeah.
So she had somebody recently was asking me about they want to know what was in that.
I would love to know.
She gave me a combination of things and we kept, using it.
Yeah.
In the morning and in the night. And then I was using Tylenol, to bring down the fever.
Yeah, the fever. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But it was very painful one at a time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to admit this. One at a time I began crying.
Wow.
So I said to myself, I'm going to die in America.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? And I say, I'm going to die in America, and the people from my hometown in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, they're not going to see me again.
Wow.
And it brought me back to when I was about 5-6 years old, living in the Mar Valley region.
Yeah.
And I got sick. I was sick so bad, and the lady that I was staying with, she ended up sending for my mother. So what I was going through brought me right back to 5-6 years old when my mother came for me.
Yeah.
And brought me to the doctor.
Yeah.
And to get me well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. When we just started seeing COVID, what was happening was that patients were coming in with what we thought were stroke and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when we realized it was a clotting, we have had patients who were discharged from the hospital and end up with, blood clots. So, it's very important for them to check a thing we call D-dimer.
Yeah.
And depending on how it's trending up or down, we have an idea of whether or not we should start anticoagulation.
Yeah.
If we should do high dose or low dose. That's just for short. Just for a while.
Okay then. So Richie, you have the right bridge enough to kind of talk to and guide you, and you understand me, I say? Because now you have a
yeah, man. We're open to receive information,
Yeah, man. Well, Mike is always here. You understand what I'm saying? Mike is always here, and I know you're interested in the field also. So Mike is the doc is always here. So you are.
Yeah, because I heard him just use saying that the terminology that he just used.
Yeah.
About the T-dimer.
D-dimer.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, perhaps I'm gonna have to check it out because one of the thing is that for the past 6 weeks, I've been doing a course in healthcare. Yeah, I've never done anything like this before. Since 29 years ago, I left high school. I haven't gone back to any class, any school. I was just in the street, going to studio, going to stage show, going to dance hall. Yeah. Never go back in a classroom or sit down. I didn't think I needed any reason to do so. Yeah. And since the whole COVID, because I basically started the course. And I had done a week, and then I found out that I was exposed. So I did the correct thing by not going back, and then wait until afterwards, and then I ended up restarting. So I just finished yesterday. I finished 6 weeks. You know what I mean? and I am now learning about medical terminologies and learning about the function of the body, learning about standard precaution and all these things. My good doctor, and so right now I am waiting, and I'm waiting on a couple vaccination. Today I received one.
Yeah.
So I have 2 more before I can go for my clinical.
Okay.
So the thing about it is this, that I experienced COVID that came to visit me, and as a result of that, I have developed an interest in the medical field.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. You see, so COVID has been good for you.
Yeah, in this way, 'cause I am now going in a new direction, even though I am, I'm an entertainer, but I'm saying to myself,
Listen,
you know what?
Your brain is big. Your brain big, so there's lots to learn. Now,
when they were giving the vaccination, the person decided that I knew the days when the vaccination would have been given, and decided with him and a couple of his friends not to be at school that day.
Yeah. Well, listen, he is taking a risk, he is taking a chance,
And the person is okay right now, almost 70 years old.
Yeah.
Exactly. So listen, some of the vaccines that we get is to stimulate our immune system, so that if we come in contact with certain virus or, certain things, we can fight it very aggressively, quickly.
Yeah.
That being said, remember the prehistoric man back in the days never used to have any vaccine.
That's true. That's true.
And many of them, we don't know. We know that they live for a long time. Some of them live for a short duration, and we don't know what killed them.
But Mike.
But at the end of the day, vaccine, because the reason why this has become such a hot topic is because people are now traveling very easily. Remember, the Indians here didn't have smallpox.
Sure. That's true.
They got it from Europeans who came here.
Wipe them out.
Who brought something different, which is the same thing with plants. That's why they tell you can't bring a plant from the U.S. to Jamaica or vice versa.
Yeah, because of fungus and bacteria.
Fungus, different things that thrive in different environments.
True.
So it comes a point where you have to say, all right, how can we make it possible for people to now come together from different walks of life and not impact each other like how smallpox had wiped out the Indian?
Yeah. All right, then here I'm going to do. See, Richie, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to just, hang on for a bit, right? I'm going to run a tune from Richie Innocent. It's called Monster. And it's the dreaded monster. Mike, you've never heard this before, but it's the dreaded monster. And I want you to listen to that tune. See? Well, it's a dub poetry. Want to listen to it and listen to the words, Mike, and then we'll talk. All right? Spoken words. All right? So hang for a bit. Hang on for a minute. See?
This terrible monster is now leading an attack. That monster, that dreaded crime monster. With this monster, no life matter. That monster, that ugly, ugly monster. That monster, that's scary, that frightful, that vicious monster. That monster, that evilous, that violent, that wicked and cruel monster. This terrible monster is now leading an attack on us all. This horrible monster is now charging an attack. Uptown, downtown, country and town, all around, everyone a ball. When will the violence stall? We should have crushed it from the embryonic state, and right now it wouldn't be terrorizing the state. What a sad state we create. We nurtured, we pampered, we made this great. Even to say that it's coming at us, endangering me and you, that's an understatement that's been said, because the beast is blatant, brazen, in full view. The rate and pace and degree of its action, we might very soon all be dead. What must we do? What can we do? What will we do? It's cancer that's already spread. Can a band-aid be the panacea, the ultimate cure? Me not sure. That monster, that ugly, ugly monster. The monster is now on a prowl, on a roll. It's not under the control, the auspices, the aegis of anyone in particular anymore. This ugly, hideous beast grips us with strangling fear. It's finally here. It's in control. This is a full-blown, full-grown killer. It goes goes and roam wherever it wants to, leaving a trail of unbearable sorrow and death. Independence, alas, it's no puppet. The string busts. The source of support is now varied. That monster. This monster ain't no cartoon monster. This monster ain't no make-believe monster. This monster ain't no cookie monster. And it will not just crumble. It will take all our efforts for it to tumble. This monster is an ugly, ugly monster. And it comes to ugly up Jamaica. Every crevice and corner and the world over. If it scare the natives, the citizens, the people who live here, then who is tourist and investor when it no fear police and it no fear soldier and it not even fear gangster? That monster, poverty, that monster, crime, that monster, injustice, that monster, corruption, that monster, inequality, that monster, brutality, that monster, racism, that monster, classism, that monster, sickness, disease, that monster, bad mind, that monster, acts of man, indiscipline, that monster, man-made destruction, abuse, that monster must be stopped. No, and it is necessary. That monster without heart, heartless, ice cold monster, that monster political, that monster religious. We need religious and political with spiritual will. We need everyone on board and not just some for us to stop these brutal acts that are gruesome. We must become courageous for it to be conquered. That monster, covetous, envious, jealous, dangerous, murderous. This monster must, should be, and will be stopped.
For real, man. You see me, I said that monster, that vicious, you know what I'm saying, cookie monster, that murder monster. You understand me, I say? For real, you know see it.
Yeah, man, it's not it ain't no card make-believe monster, you know. I
know.
There ain't no cookie monster, and it will not just crumble.
That's
collective effort, you know what I mean?
That's a powerful spoken words, Richie.
Yeah, man, blessed love and thanks, you know.
It's very powerful. I really and truly love it. I know Jesse Irie love it too. You understand me, Adida? I know Jesse's listening, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, big up yourself, Richie.
Nah, man,
yeah, man,
Jesse, that tune there. That's
Jesse. Richie.
In primetime news this evening, sexual harassment culture, psychologist and women's rights group speak in part 2 of harassment on taxes. Not this bill. Committee examining new sexual harassment bill concerned it offers no recourse for harassment in public places. And Clarendon police widen search for missing teacher Natalie Dawkins. We have the latest. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. We're live on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Herman Gray. Thanks for joining us. Also this evening, the top business stories of the day. There's Primetime Sports, sports commentary, E-Prime, and weather. But before the break, here is our feedback question. This evening we're asking, do you think there is need for more public education on the National Identification System NIDS? Share your comments online, facebook.com/televisionjamaica, and tweet @televisionjam. Please stay tuned. Primetime News returns right after this break. Welcome back to Primetime News, and again, a special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. Up first this evening, one psychologist has declared that only a massive resocialization campaign will reverse years of a culture of sexual harassment in Jamaica. But on the heels of our Part 1 report on sexual harassment on taxis, at least one women's rights group believes taxi drivers are being used as scapegoats. Now, Giovanni Dennis picks up Part 2 of this special report on Hackney carriage taxis.
Some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't understand personal space. I would love for rules to be implemented to ensure that there are less cases of this, so that you're not allowed to touch us.
But why is sexual harassment so prevalent in the first place? For psychologist Dr. Leakim Samaj, it's a social and cultural problem. He argues many men do not understand what sexual harassment is.
Lots of men believe that it is their responsibility to respond to a woman, whatever comes to their mouth, whatever desire they feel, they should express it. If they need to touch her, easier. No, a woman in a taxi, that means many men say that's fair game. She's in my car. She's right next to me.
He proposes a re-socialization and a re-education campaign.
We have to actively set out to change this aspect of our culture. And press conferences won't do it. Public releases won't do it. It has to be clear, guided re-socialization. Look how long we've been talking about sexual harassment. It's at the level of parliament, but we really have no public education programs.
We Change is a women's rights advocacy group. It's made submissions to the committee considering the sexual harassment bill. Christina Neal is Policy and Research Director.
And I'm guessing that it's because of this situation, this unfortunate situation with Kanice, that a lot of people are sort of looking for a boogeyman. They're looking for a boogeyman. They're looking for a particular monster that they can point fingers at. And so taxi drivers become a scapegoat, even though it is correct that women face a lot of sexual harassment in taxis. What we need to think about is the larger systemic problem of teaching men to feel like they're entitled to women's bodies.
She also argues that some of the solutions being put forward now are short-term and may lead to more problems for women.
Because telling us that we should carry pepper sprays and other kind of weapons, sure, that's a short-term effect, right? But what happens to the woman after she pepper sprays the driver? What kind of other violence could she face as a result of retaliating?
But what are Hackney Carriage companies saying?
I find it hard to believe.
In part 3, we'll hear from the Jamaica Association of Hackney Contract Carriage and the Transport Authority. Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
So what does a female do if she's harassed on the streets or while taking public transportation? The matter was again raised during yesterday's Joint Select Committee meeting examining the sexual harassment bill. The discussion surrounded whether victims could seek recourse under the proposed legislation. Janella Precious has our report.
It's an issue which spans decades. Women facing sexual harassment on the streets and in some cases while on public or even private transportation. There was an expectation by some groups that victims would have been able to seek recourse under the long-awaited sexual harassment legislation, but they won't, prompting this question from a member of the Joint Select Committee examining the sexual harassment bill, Sapphire Longmore.
Whilst I recognize that we may legislatively refer it to another piece of legislation, could I be directed as to which piece of legislation that would apply?
I'm aware nothing is being done for street harassment, but something would have to be done separately. The legislation I've seen so far that deals with street harassment is criminal, and this legislation is more civil, so it would require something separate to be done. I don't think anything is being contemplated for it.
Committee member Angela Brown-Burke offered this view.
The majority of instances where women are harassed, sexually harassed, really takes place in the streets, and that we need to find protection for those individuals, or men or women, but our men as well, who are harassed sexually on our public thoroughfare and in the public domain, and not as restricted as this bill is. And don't get me wrong, I recognize the bill that we are working on as a seminal piece of legislation that is important, long overdue. People are waiting on it, and I know we have put everything into it. I still feel that something we have missed that opportunity.
There was, however, an assurance that the necessary legislation to deal with these matters is being worked on.
The difficulty that most women experience is that the issue is not always physical. It is the calling, the following, the stalking, the discomfort, and as well as the physical, yes, but it is the gap in the law is the offense of stalking doesn't exist, criminal harassment doesn't exist. And that is being recommended for inclusion at this point in the Offences Against Persons Act.
Janella Precious, TVJ News.
Now, the search for missing Clarendon teacher Natalie Dawkins continued today. Search teams visited 2 communities that the police listed as areas of interest. It was another disappointing day for the search party looking for Natalie Dawkins. Parts of Green Pond and Sandy Bay in Clarendon were the areas targeted by the police and volunteers Wednesday afternoon. However, when the search was called off around 6 in the evening, nothing useful had been found.
Today, we were joined by our committed teachers to continue the search for our missing teacher, Natalie Dawkins. We focused in the Sandy Bay area today due to information that have garnered from our committed stakeholders, the public, police investigation. We can't put a time period to a person's life, and we will continue to search until we find our life, and that's our hope.
The Clarendon-based teacher has been missing for a week. Teachers who volunteered to help in the search expressed disgust that people keep sharing rumors about the status of the missing teacher. They are urging persons to remember the family is hurting. The leadership of the Clarendon police, in the meantime, confirmed that a man suspected of being involved in Saturday's shootout with the security forces was taken into custody. The man was detained after he turned up at hospital seeking medical help with gunshot wounds. He has been interviewed by detectives. When pressed, the police refused to say if the man had given them any information which may be useful in the search for Miss Dawkins. Still to come this evening, no mandatory vaccine. Workers' Union raises objection as discussions on COVID jabs for public sector workers intensifies. And new research reveals COVID-19 survivors may suffer long-term brain disease. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. One union representing some public sector workers is this evening making it clear that it will not support the government making COVID-19 vaccines mandatory for employees. While the government has made it clear vaccinations will not be mandatory at this stage, we understand discussions are being had on the matter. Javon Keys has our report.
Globally, discussions have been swirling about whether governments ought to consider making the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for their employees. President of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, JCSA, O'Neill Grant, says this is not a move his union would support.
It is a conversation that is starting, mandatory vaccination, and I am putting our employer, the government of Jamaica, on guard that mandatory vaccination is not something that the JCSA and its membership will accept. We know the dangers of not being vaccinated, but we do believe that there is a matter of choice, and the choice must not cause persons to be in jeopardy. We saw
Our news center received this photo of what looks to be an indemnity form members of the security forces were asked to sign. It says there can be administrative implications which may affect an officer's employment if they decline the vaccine. We understand the form has since been retracted. Attorney at law Gavin Goff says making the vaccination mandatory may not be unconstitutional.
The trend that we see across the world is that mandatory vaccination, in the sense of it being required as a condition of employment, is being treated as acceptable once there is no medical or religious or other valid reason given by the employee for not accepting the vaccine.
He says this is especially for workers who are at greater risk of contracting COVID-19. He says Jamaica is likely to follow that trend. But can you be fired for not taking the vaccine?
Now, if you can perform your role entirely from home or outside of the workplace, then it certainly would not be reasonable for an employer to insist that you must take the vaccine in order to work from home. So it's not so much as a matter of a condition of employment, but it really is a condition of access to the physical workplace. Now, for persons who are unable to work outside of the physical workplace, then the issue then is that they would not be able anymore to provide the service for which they were, up to this point in time, being paid and hired to do. And if you're not able to provide the service, then you're not able to be compensated.
Javon Keys, TVJ News.
A new study finds that 1 in 3 people who had COVID-19 may suffer long-term brain disease. Researchers writing in the Lancet Psychiatric Journal say 34% of COVID survivors received a neurological or psychological diagnosis within 6 months of infection. Anxiety and mood disorders were the 2 most diagnosed. Conditions were more severe in hospitalized patients, but common in outpatients as well. The study examined electronic health records of more than 230,000 patients, making it the largest yet. And the president of the Association of General Practitioners in Jamaica, Donald Gordon, says there is need for public awareness on the long-term effect of COVID-19. Dr. Gordon says the effects vary.
I don't think a lot of people are realizing that COVID do have a long-term effect, and it's not just neurologically. You have heart problems, so it does have a long-term effect. A lot of people have breathing problems as one of the long-term effects. And the long-term effect can come within 3 months. It can come within 6 months. So there is need for that to be out there as well.
Now, the public health team in St. Mary is in full preparation mode for another COVID-19 vaccination blitz to be held over the upcoming weekend lockdown in the capital, Port Maria. Despite being the parish with the second lowest number of confirmed cases, Medical Health Officer Dr. Tamara Henry is still concerned that persons breaching COVID protocols continue to spread the virus. Here's Krista Campbell with our report.
Police and the soldiers at the Claude Stewart Park in Port Maria, St. Mary, not on a crime-fighting mission, but a mission nonetheless to tackle the killer that is COVID-19. Health officials are leading.
The sad thing about it is, listen to them lyrics here. And remember back in the days, we had inspiration from the Peter Tosh, the Bob Marley, many of those elders, right? And people would respond to the music and force the government on. Now, even with these inspirational music, we're not seeing any move in the dial because what is happening in Jamaica, and I said it last week, and every time I had your program, I'm going coming like a scratch record.
Yeah.
When the people are blinded by the amount of crime and violence, they don't see a few things. And I'm gonna give me 30 seconds. Let me list it. 1, what has been happening to education in Jamaica? Nobody realized that from the youthful age, we're not taught about our culture anymore like the way we used to be taught growing up. To respect our heroes, what our heroes did for us, and fought to give us the liberation that we had, right? When they talk about healthcare, nobody's realizing that a tremendous amount of money come to Jamaica and a lot of aid that the Prime Minister, our opposition leader, would never have to really spend much money in the healthcare system. Yet we don't see it reflected in the healthcare system. Yet, all of the Chinese who come to build the road, they have their little, and even for the people who are vacationing in Jamaica, they now have these tourist hospitals
they do.
that are able to service them, so they are not touched by the lack of resources in the hospital. When you talk about the violence in the city, the politicians are still immune from it, from I was growing up until now. And the tourists, you know, who are subjected to it? Us returning residents and the local Jamaicans.
That's true.
And you're distracted by that because you're not seeing that, one, everything is being soloed from underneath us and no work is provided. So it doesn't matter whether you come out with 500 A levels, you don't have a job.
Yeah.
So look at this now. If when the Chinese were coming in and building those roads, they look and say, you know, we have some architects come out of UTech. We need to put them upside them Chinese and to make them learn. So that when we have other projects for them, we can use some of our own. Listen to what the Chinese did. Not only did they give us a loan, they brought their own workers. They had their own little bank that they bank the money in, that send it back to China. Yeah, and they got land. They have their own little isms and hospitals where they can go to.
Yeah.
So all of that money that come into Jamaica and all of the resort, went right back to China. We're the one paying for it. All of those hotels that's been made on the North Shore, they take away all of the little beachfront from the local people. So the local man can't come on the beach, come sell them little thing anymore.
No, they gave the Chinese some prime property. They don't.
And all of these guys who were politicians who were poorer than the poorest person in Jamaica.
Come on,
Rich.
Rich.
It's a multi-millionaire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's why we are saying that is why we are saying.
That is why Jamaica needs to wake up.
Yeah, but this is why I always believe that those in the diaspora can come together collectively to bring about that change. You know, those in the diaspora cannot just sit back and allow those who are elected in Jamaica, regardless of which party is in power, to do as they like and to do as they please. And then whenever time they visit, whether the UK or America or Canada, you turn up at these town hall meeting or wherever they come, whichever hotel they come to, and to be cheering for them so loudly, so they feel as if, oh, they come abroad. And all these from the diaspora is going to be there looking up at them.
I've been to a couple of those. You're right.
And they go back, and then they go back to Jamaica. So they will always continue to do what they are doing. You know what I mean?
But you know what happened?
I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying to my friend that I believe that the third generation, you know, the children who have their grandmother and their mother and father who are living in right across. I believe that these youth, they have more pride and they love Jamaica more than those who are actually on the island right now.
It's true.
And I believe that
that's true.
We want persons are talking about a third party. I believe that if we can get some of those from the diaspora, the children, the third generation, who are very educated, and they have all these qualifications. If we can have some of them to have the interest to go back to Jamaica, to farm government in Jamaica, I believe that Jamaica would have a greater.
Okay, I spoke about this last week. One second, Mike. One second. I spoke about this.
Address that. Remind me when you finish.
I spoke about this last week. I said that they make it so difficult, for people that's here inside the States to get involved in government in Jamaica. For instance, second generation Jamaicans who are Jamaicans also, you know what I'm saying, could not go back and be a part of government to affect change because they would have to denounce their American citizenship or their UK citizenship, or, you understand what I'm saying? They'd have to give that up to do that. So that there are things that they have in place in their constitution or whatever that stops us here from go back and affect certain change. So what Mike was saying to me, what I'm taking from what Mike was saying, Dr. Mike was saying, is that I think the biggest way to hit them is financially. It's got to be financially.
Let me tell you, you see remittance? You see the money.
That's right, remittance, the Western Union.
The money that flows through remittance.
Run Jamaica,
There are times when they announce the amount of money that they make in
billions of dollars.
Backside.
Yeah.
And the remittance money is up there, sometimes even surpass that amount. And I believe that, listen, that's why I know that those from the diaspora have a lot can can affect a lot of change and influence.
I understand where I said Richie, but Richie,
don't have jobs in Jamaica. A lot of persons who are unemployed in Jamaica.
I got it.
You know why Jamaica is at a state right now that they don't break out? Yeah. You know why?
Because we up here,
the money that is flowing to Jamaica to help people.
Mike, I'm sorry, Richie. But what I said though, seeing is that it's hard because you have your mother, your father down there, and you know them need something. It's gonna be hard for me to say, you know what, but can't really send that because it, you know what I'm saying. It have to be an effort with all of us not to send so much money through Western. It's at a couple of $1 billion US. I think it's like $2 billion US dollars that we sent back to Jamaica, and tourism.
Yeah, but you may not necessarily have to not send it.
Then what? So how do you?
There can be a discussion. You know, when they know that when they know that, listen, the persons from the diaspora are concerned and want the changes to take place because they want.
But them know say you go send the money. Them know that.
Send the money, so.
Exactly. I know you're gonna send it.
No incentive.
Regardless of what you have to send it.
Richie, let me give you a perfect example. I'm gonna give you 2 examples. I used to work at KPH.
Pointed in all of them.
In other world of them. But you are. See, let me just get a little lighthearted here. I'm gonna play something and I want everyone to respond to it in a certain way and tell me one of the things. See? All right, listen to this.
A different type of story now. Over 140 dogs are now in Canada after they were flown there from Jamaica. Dwayne Anderson reports.
Catching fleas to catching a flight. It's been an interesting journey for 145 Jamaican brown terriers, more commonly called mongrels. The dogs were flown to Canada over the weekend. Most of the animals were strays that were rescued from the streets of Jamaica by the Montego Bay Animal Haven based in St. James.
This is Amari. She's a beautiful dog. She might be missing a leg, but she's beautiful as you can see. She was found on an absolutely pouring rainy day in Fairview in Mobay. I took a different road because of the traffic, so I went down past the hospital now, G West, and she was sat in the middle of the road, skin and bone.
Our news team was at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay as the dogs were loaded onto their flight. The animals did not need a visa, but a lot of other documentation had to be done before they could travel.
They have to be parasite-free, so they have to be thoroughly wormed, no fleas, no ticks, nothing contagious on them. They have to be good body weight, they have to be healthy. So once our vets have given the dogs a health certificate, weighed them, aged them, because we don't know the age of some of these dogs. We get their certificate done, and then the certificate and the dog is then taken to the government vet, and she has to give it a very, very thorough examination to make sure that she agrees with everything that's been written down by our vets. And then if that is the case, we're given clearance to send the dog.
There was a lot of hugging and kissing. Saying goodbye was not easy for some of the dogs' longtime caregivers. Removing these dogs and other suffering animals from the streets of Jamaica carry economic benefits, as animal-loving tourists who come to Jamaica and see the maimed or dead dogs on the country streets are turned off from visiting again. Now these pictures and videos were shared with us of some of the animals in their new homes in Canada. Some already enjoying walks with their new owners. This one has been outfitted in a little dog jacket to help brave the freezing temperatures. The animals were sent to Canada thanks to a partnership with Save Our Scruff, which is a non-profit dog rescue charity located in Toronto and Southern Ontario.
Like I say, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, you know, Richie, hold on. But that's why I know what I say, you know? All right, so, anybody care to comment? Yeah. Anybody care for comment?
Every dog of him there.
Every dog of him there.
I guess dogs are like children.
Who let the dogs out? Okay, we let the dogs out.
Dogs are like children. Some people treat them like family. Like they're children in the home.
Okay, Richie. Richie.
You know what they used to say?
What?
They used to say fowl put up himself early pan roost. And them say when dog asks fowl why him go up so early, I was told them said the fowl said to the dog said I go up early because when I hear the breed and lick them I get a nice
and I want a big stone of people fling off of them. So, you know my all right, I'm gonna say, hold on. I'm gonna say, boy, yo, it looked like say foreign gone to the dogs.
No, they used to say Jamaica gone to the dogs.
No, foreign gone to the dogs now.
Foreign.
Oh, the dog, they got a foreign. Okay then, see.
Yeah.
But some man actually, but you know, some man actually begs. Mr. People online and some people actually begs, you know.
Yeah, there are persons who are upset because they're saying that interest is going to the dog rather than people.
Yeah, some man begs.
But you have to give the animal them a chance. Listen to me. You see, we have so many people, and you know, who have got that chance for the dog yet. I know do not with it. So
Exactly.
So, you know the song with Cartel sing?
Oh, hold on. That's nothing. The song with Cartel sing, all right.
When they started the song where they must sing the dog.
Lord, man, Lord.
Dog them. Two can't talk out for me, this dog them. That's a genocide.
My dog them a feelings. Whoa. My dog them a feelings. Some of the girl no like how we a live.
Yeah. The dog them a feel live. Run it again. See? Let the dog them live, man. You see that deal? For real.
Talk out for me, this dog them. That's a genocide.
What you say?
My dog them a feelings. My dog them a feelings. Some of the girl no like how we a live. Pinting for bed. Flying go for me. My dog them a feelings.
The dog them a feelings.
Some of the girl no like how we a live. Pinting for bed. Flying go for me.
Teacher we day up on the block. Nothing change, girl in a miller. Split rap, any pandora. Any media flap. Boy, them out a rebel if the pot. No say you're not ready, you a act. Like say you carry that. Hey, run up in any way you lock. Cause I make a link, I make a man in your place, fly your back. Youngster no wife, rat man, I also see the that's why not.
So the dog them a feelings.
My dog them a feelings.
But you know, and that's the even before me leave Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
My dog them, when my stepfather come home, you know, if them dogs don't feed, you know.
Yeah.
I come to come in, you know. Or, you know, put in all the bone them and thing to make the dog them belly full, but the purely I get. So for a long time, I take care of my dog them. But on a serious note, something needs to be done because not just people don't understand the psychology behind it. If you can turn around and deal with your dog and you're pitting them a certain way, then why would you have compassion for another human being?
Yeah, my son, when my son was younger, I took him to Jamaica and he was very observant, you know. For me, it was normal, but then him looked at me and said, and he was pretty mad. I said, why? I said, boy, he's like that. The way they treat the animals, the dogs here, it's ridiculous. It's cruel, you know. He was pretty upset because I guess him observe all the people them deal with the dog them. You understand what I say? And he been saying it for the longest time. Them not to deal with the animal them so and deal with the dog them so. Cause everywhere I go, I see a little dog about the place and a man fling sitting off of them. A man lick them. Where driver say a dead dog on the road. You understand what I say? Then he saw we went somewhere and the bus the car have stopped and him see a man on the side of the road with a little box and in that box the guy had some baby birds. Some little baby bird. And the brethren feed the little bird in the box. And he was like, wow, for once, somebody actually care about animals, you know? He was quite impressed that one guy he saw was actually, you understand what I say?
You couldn't lick dog and make all my stepfather said because if I lick you with some kind of say, yo, you can't treat dumb animal that way there.
Yeah. I'm not gonna tell like I'm guilty like enough man to deal with dog a certain way.
I never as a youth, you know, as a youth, I was never cruel to animals, you know. But you see, my thing is this. This is how I see things. You see, I don't have a problem with persons loving animals. But I believe that as much you love animal, if you love animal and you don't love people,
that's a different story.
I have a problem with that because
exactly.
I believe that you should love life and respect. There are persons who have more respect for animals than people, and they are not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
There are people who want to see animals okay and people not okay. Some people, all right, some people would rather to come in Jamaica and to see person's body on the road would not really even affect them much.
Yeah.